All aboard, time to start. Trains, music and art. All aboard. All aboard. Here we go. All aboard. Here we go. Water to the boiler, coal to the firebox. Coal makes fire, water makes steam, steam makes pressure. Push those pistons, move the rods, turn the wheels. Water to the boiler, water to the boiler, coal to the firebox, coal to the firebox. Coal makes fire, coal makes fire, water makes steam. Steam makes pressure, steam makes pressure. Push those pistons, push those pistons. Move the rods, turn the wheels. Water to the boiler, water to the boiler, coal to the firebox, coal to the firebox. Coal makes fire, coal makes fire, water makes steam, water makes steam. Steam makes pressure, steam makes pressure. Push those pistons, move those rods, turn the wheels, turn the wheels. All aboard! Oh, we have a good episode for you today. I just wanted to get us started a little bit with a good old harmonica in the key of C and a song about how that big old steam engine, the Union Pacific 477 in Oakdale Park, how it works. It uses water and coal to make fire and steam. It's a big old machine with all kinds of different complicated things on it, but when it comes down to it, that's what it does. It takes water and coal. The coal makes a fire heats the water makes the steam pushes the pistons move the rods, and the rods turn those big wheels, and that's how that thing went down the track. Oh my goodness, it was so fascinating trying to figure that out. I hope you enjoyed singing that song. So that's a little bit of music today because we're getting ready to have another all aboard arts and crafts session with a guest artist. And today we have Shawn Delker who's going to visit. And she has some watercolors, some scissors, some glue, and some different kinds of paper. And she's going to show you how to make a really nice sunset scene to put behind your train and your railroad track and all the different project things we've been making when we've been learning about trains. So I think we're just about ready to take it on over to Shawn. Shawn, are you ready? Oh, I'm so glad. We'll see you in a little bit. Kids, get your stuff. Get ready to have a good time. I know you're really going to enjoy this.
Woo, woo! Welcome to my art station. I'm so glad you're here. Are you ready to make some art? I know I am. I'm Shawn Delker, and today I thought we would make a background for our train. So I have my background box ready to go. And I've got my supplies all ready to go. Do you? I have my white paper. I have some construction paper. And if you don't have construction paper, you can always color your white paper with paints, markers, or crayons. I have some tissue paper, my crayons, my markers, and I have white glue or stick glue, whichever you prefer. And I always have my paper towels handy and ready to go. I have my watercolor paints, a paintbrush, a pair of scissors, and I have a white lid. I recycled this off of a tub, and I want it white so that I can see what the colors are when I'm mixing them. I also have another lid from a jug, and this one I'm using to put my water in. I'm ready to go. How about you? Well, we're going to get started painting. First, we're going to dip in a little bit of water, and I've been noticing that the sunrises have blue on the top. So I'm going to get a little bit of blue mixing here on my white lid, and I can see what color it's going to be. I'm going to make it pretty thin because it's not real bright, and put that across the top of my sky. That looks pretty good. Then, because the sunrise has lots of colors in it, I'm going to do some fun mixing. A little bit of yellow. Not enough. Let's get a little more water in it. There we go. A little more yellow. Now let's get a little orange. Do you see how I washed off my brush a little bit before I got the orange? So I don't mix my colors in the paints. I'm mixing them on this tray. Oh, there we go. That orange is pretty good, but I'm going to put a little yellow in it. Ooh, now it's the color I had in mind. Now I'm going to wash out my brush a little bit and get a little red. What's a sunrise without a little red? Don't want to get too bright, so I'm going to put a little more water in it. That looks pretty good. I'll mix a little bit of yellow in that. Ooh, I like the way those two colors go together. Now I'm going to start putting this down below the sky. And you know how there's streaks in the sky? So I'm going to give it some streaks. Now I've divided my paper up into about thirds. So I'm going to have this be the background, and then I'm going to have the sky, and then I'm going to have the background, and then I'm going to have the ground underneath here, or the foreground. Those are artist words. So I'm going to color that in, and you know what? In the top third, I'm not real happy with it. Because I've noticed that the skies in the morning, the blue isn't real bright like that. That's too bright. So I'm going to get a little bit of black. And put it here. Oh, just a tiny bit of black. That's way too much. I need to get it watered down. And I can mix the black right on top of the blue and give it a whole new color. Oh, now that is perfect. It looks like the sun has just barely come up. I like that color. I also think this color, it's pretty, but it needs some brighter streaks to it. So I'm going to get a little stronger red and not put so much water in it. And we're going to see what, oh yeah! Yeah, that's what a sunrise should look like. and maybe a little bit of orange in there too. Yeah. Then I'm going to wash it out down here a little bit. Oh, much better. And if you think it's too thick, you can always put a little more water on it. Isn't that cool? You can't make any mistakes. And you can mix the colors right there on the paper if you like. All right, now I'm going to cut out a sun to go on it. And I have an orange sheet of paper. Of course, if you wanted to take a piece of white paper and paint it orange, you can do that. And I'm going to cut out a circle by cutting out a square. So I'm going to cut out a square like that. And then I'm going to cut the corners off the square to make my sun. The sun is so bright in the sky. I like it to be nice and bright. Oh, I goofed. That's way too big. That's okay. I can just cut it off. Make it smaller. Still a little big. I'll cut it again. It's okay. Sometimes it takes several tries to make something look right. Oh, that's much better. Now I'm going to put my sun over here because I think with art, usually you like things off center, but hey, if you want it in the center and that's the way you like it, do it that way. Now, even though this is wet, I'm going to glue down to this dry part. So I'm going to get some of my stick glue, put it on the sun, and put it right over here. Later, when the sky is dry, I'll stick this down with a little bit of glue and it'll stick down to the paper just fine, but this holds it there. You know, usually I see clouds going over the sun. So I'm going to paint in some of those clouds with some of my bright red, like that. Ooh, I'm going to need some more red. I'll mix it a little bit. Oh, I'm liking this. Going across the sun. Maybe a little of the orange too. Okay. Don't know what that's going to look like when it's dry, but that's okay. We can always paint it again if it's not right. There, I think that's pretty good. Let's go on to the ground. This is the brown. I'm going to use this for the background that's just below the sky. So first, I'm going to cut some rolling hills. Like if we were going to go out west. There's kind of rolling hills out there before it gets really flat. There I go. But I want something else down here in the bottom third, so I'm going to cut it off here to make it the right length. There, but you know, I want to add a little bit of texture to this so that it looks kind of different and kind of fun. So I'm going to wad it up. Did you know that wadding up paper like this is a Japanese tradition in doing things like this? I think it's kind of cool that they used to crumple up paper. Oh, I like the texture that it gave me. It looks more like ground that way, doesn't it? Kind of ground that we might have in Kansas. Oh, but now that I've crumpled it, it doesn't cover all the way, does it? So I'm going to need to give it, and I don't like this either because it's not painted here. So I'm going to make a little bit of a, take a little bit of green and put behind it and see what happens. See, I've given it another hill. And I'm going to move it around until I like what it looks like. Oh yeah, real good. And this part here, I'm going to cover it up with the grass or the foreground, so that's not going to show. So I'm going to, and don't worry, it's too big, but I'll show you how I do that. I'm going to take my stick glue. And I'm going to put it along here. Press that down. The crumply is kind of hard to work with. And then I'll take this part and put it under there, like that. Now this hangs over, and I know that, but now I'll show you a trick I like to do when I'm doing landscapes is I turn it over and I cut it off along the edge of the paper like that. And there I have it. Oh, I do like the way the crumplies are. And that tore a little bit, but it doesn't bother me. But if it bothers you, I think you could cut out a cedar tree, don't you? Out of a triangle and glue it right there. Like that. In fact, if you get a tear anywhere you don't like, you can always put a cedar tree there. Now we're going to do the grass or the foreground. You're going to take your green sheet of paper again, and I'm going to put it right across here. But you know, this is really sharp and straight, and nothing in nature is sharp and straight like that. So we're going to cut it off kind of jaggedy. And you can be as messy with this as you want to. That looks like tops of grass. Now, I know this isn't the right size, but this is a little trick I've come up with when I make landscapes. Is I put it on when it's too big, just like I did that other little green piece. And I glue that down like that in the place that I want it. So I have my sky, my background, and now I have a foreground. And I'm going to turn it over, and I can see exactly where to cut it off. There. Now I think it's a little bit boring. And I don't like this edge here. So I'm going to cut that off as a curve here. Oh, that's a lot better. I like that a lot better. Okay, now this is just a bit boring down here. So I'm going to make some grass. And all I need to do is make stems of grass. And they're not straight. And they're zippity-zappity, crisscrossy. Like that. And when I think I've got enough, I stop. Now I think it needs more color because I'm a person that likes some color. So this is where the tissue paper comes in. I have a real colorful piece of tissue paper. I've just wadded it up. That's fun that way. And I wad a little piece. Get my stick glue out and put it on. Isn't that pretty? Add some more texture. Adds a bright color. And easy. Hey, you know what? I could stick these on all day. And if you want to, you can. Oh, that's a pretty flower. I like that. Or if you just have construction paper, you can cut out construction paper flowers. And I like to make little circles, again, by cutting squares and nipping off the corners. Oop, that one came out kind of floppy skewed, didn't it? So we'll just give it a little trim. And then we can glue that down. Now that's an awfully big circle, so I'm going to make a little one. This is just so fun. I bet I could come up with all kinds of ideas for different kinds of flowers, and I bet you can too. To make it look really pretty. There. Oh, that flower looks like Mickey Mouse. I think I better go get another circle for it so it doesn't look like Mickey Mouse. What do you think? When you're making art, I make decisions as I go. And sometimes it doesn't come out right. And sometimes it comes out perfect. And you know what? I just do not like this flower that big of a circle. Again, it looks too much like Mickey Mouse. So I'm going to make a tiny one. And it's okay if it doesn't come out right the first time. There we go. Much better. I'm much happier with that. Get the crumbles off. Boy, I've made a mess here. I think I better clean it up while this dries. And here's our finished picture. I'm really pleased with it. Let's put it on the background. Clip it on. And there, our train is ready for its first morning ride. Woo! All aboard! Back to you, Thad.
All aboard! Oh, Shawn, thank you so much. That was so cool. I loved crinkling up that paper. That made it look really cool. And I was really surprised when the sun went behind the mountain or the hills went in front of the sun, and taking that white lid and mixing those watercolors like that. All you need was a little old white lid. And I never really thought about mixing watercolors that much. I just used the ones they had. But that was so nice, and today we're going to go out of here. I put one of my little trains and a water tower in front of your wonderful artwork, and I bet you kids at home have some things that look just as cool as this. So I'm going to take us out here with a little bit of the song we did earlier, because now you can see where the water is on our engine. And here's the coal, and the water goes up here. The coal, the fireman shovels the coal into the boiler, and the boiler makes the steam, and you can see the steam coming out of the smokestack. And down here's where those pistons would be. And then you can see the rods that turn the wheels. It has everything in our little song. I'm going to go one more time on to take us out of here. Water to the boiler, water to the boiler, coal to the firebox, coal to the firebox. Coal makes fire, coal makes fire, water makes steam, water makes steam, steam makes pressure, steam makes pressure. Push those pistons, push those pistons, move the rods, turn the wheels. Water to the boiler, coal to the firebox. Coal makes fire, water makes steam, steam makes pressure. Push those pistons, move the rods, turn the wheels. All aboard! See you next time. I've been working on the railroad all the livelong day.